Man, and we are live. You know, this is what happens when it's 11:30 in the evening and you yet still up and it's a Monday night. You decide to do the Muzzle is Off After Dark. So this is your girl Nakia Monet, and we are doing the Muzzle is Off After Dark. And all of this was really sparked by a conversation I was having with a friend of mine. And I said, you know what? Sometimes we got to bring certain conversations to the good people after dark. Some things can't be discussed beforehand. It needs to be discussed at a good after dark hour. And one of the things that we was actually just discussing, we was talking about cheating. And we would, as two women on the phone chit-chatting amongst each other, we were talking about ways in which and how we know when a man is cheating. And one of the biggest telltale signs, and the reason why we came upon this topic is because I was discussing with her how I was able to learn and figure out that my ex was cheating. And one of the ways that I was able to figure it out is because if we're married and we're having unprotected sex, and I know I'm good and you know you good, but next thing you know, I'm no longer good because you cheating. And my juices and her juices ain't mixing together well because her pH balance is off compared to my pH balance. Therefore, that means that if my pH balance was already smelling and tasting like peaches and cream, and you start throwing in the mix of her pH balance, and her pH balance then has my pH balance acting like it's over there at the 99-cent fish market, something is wrong, right? Don't make that face. I'm just saying something is wrong, okay? That means something is wrong, okay? Because I was just straight 112 in it, you know what I'm saying? Peaches and cream. I was straight up over here. Who was that? The other group, Blackberry Molasses over here. You feel me? Like, we was all chilling, you know what I'm saying? Strawberries and cream and stuff. And next thing you know, something else is popping off. And we now at the good fish market across the street, which tells you something is off, something is going on. That right there is a telltale sign that something is going on. Somebody's creeping. And if that somebody ain't you, you know it's somebody else. Point blank, period. And I'm like, you know what? And we could talk about that and we could be open and honest about that because these are the things that we do not openly discuss as men and women. How do I know as a woman that you are sleeping with another woman? Some of y'all be sleeping with other men, but we ain't talk. We could talk about that too. But you as a woman,
I can't.
It's the truth. I'm just saying.
They sleeping with men and women at the same time.
At the same time. And you can have your whole good wife at home, but then you got your little boyfriend up the street. It's just the truth. It's what it is. And people don't want to talk about that. And everybody want to act like this stuff don't go on. No, it happens. It goes on. It is common. It is practice. And that's what it is. But we don't want to be open. We don't want to be honest. And we don't want to discuss it. And I don't care. It is the Muzzle is Off After Dark. And this is what we're going to discuss tonight because we after dark. Y'all go ahead. Tell me I'm wrong because you can't. But go ahead and try anyway. Because I can keep going.
No, you ain't wrong. Listen, you know my position has always been never open somebody's heart that is closed, never open it up and then treat them any old kind of way. You create a bitter person, you create an angry person, you create all these negative characteristics in that person when you knew you wasn't right in the first place and you should have just left that person alone.
You just
hold on, y'all. This after dark and this is like last minute, so I'm having some technical difficulties. So I just believe that especially if the person that you are getting to know or dealing with, the other person is already set up to be in a committed relationship, a monogamous committed relationship. Now, if you have had conversations prior to about poly, threesomes, all that other jazz, and the other person has not committed to that, then if you go outside of that, that's an issue. That's a problem.
But let's talk about this. Okay.
Hmm.
How do you know? Let's just break this down. How do you know when a person is cheating?
You
How do
can
you
feel it.
know?
I
How?
was
I,
I was
I could
about to say
feel it.
that.
You, I could feel when the other person was cheating.
How?
Um,
Okay, what feeling did you have?
you just knew something was off.
Hmm.
The behavior changed. Patterns started to change.
Conversations are different.
Okay.
Um,
Go ahead, Betty.
for me, oh gosh, I was with the same person since I was what, 16? Me and my
Okay.
ex-boyfriend was, I was 16, and we broke up a month after I turned 23. And I'm 23 now. So I've been with the same person since I was 16. And for me, it was always conversations were different, or I would say something and he would instantly get an attitude. Or
Mm,
I used to have dreams. Like we would have an argument and I would go to bed and I would have a dream and I wake up the next morning and be like, what did you do?
mm,
What did you do? Because we were so connected because that was my best friend. So I told him everything. He knew when I was mad. He could tell you right now if I text him because that's still my best friend. We still cool, but he can tell you right now if I got an attitude or not because we're just
mm,
so close as best friends. But in a relationship, it didn't work because he didn't see a marriage. His parents are married, but he didn't see a successful marriage. So he couldn't model a successful relationship because that's not what he saw. But in my household, I've seen my grandparents be married for over 40 years.
mm,
So I
mm,
knew what a successful relationship and marriage was. Not saying that they're perfect. They're perfect to me, but to everybody else, they probably not. But um, so seeing what I saw in my household and then going into a relationship and not having that same thing and then noticing certain things, it made me change conversations. It made me ask more questions and try and figure out what's the disconnect here. So,
And that's
And
good because the conversation can change, right? Truth be
absolutely.
told, the sex, I don't know if y'all was having sex, but the sex can change
I
because
can't. Yeah.
I'm just saying, Betty, you 23, you ain't no little kid. Gail would be fine. What I'm saying is, okay, the muzzle is off. We talks about all things, okay? There are no
I
secrets with the
love it.
muzzle. That's why it is off. Um, the sex can
Lord have
change.
mercy.
And I'm gonna tell you, and you know why the sex changes? The sex changes because every woman's uh private area, every woman's vagina is not the same. And every woman, you can't perform the same way with every woman because everything ain't gonna match up for every woman. That's just point because some things one woman might like it one way, the other woman's gonna like it another way, and you're gonna be confused and up there trying to give it to each woman the same way, and they're gonna be like, I ain't like it like that. That's not how we did it the last time. And so you automatically see a pattern of how y'all had sex before. Everything just begins to change. They just start lying. They start disappearing. Okay.
Hmm.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
They
that
start
behavior
sneaking
portion.
around. And
Yeah.
what people fail to realize is that we pick up and we pay attention to all of that. Like women are very intuitive, so we pay very close attention to pattern, or look, as Gail says, pattern changes.
I love it all the time.
Yeah,
Or
well,
I don't like
I
I
think
don't like pattern, but that's what she said. So I had to go. I had to go with that. I had to go with the
Yes.
pattern changes.
Go
Okay.
with the pattern changes.
but the other
Hmm.
thing is because you are, when you have sex, you are connected. And when that connection is broken, you can tell, you can feel that energy change, you can feel all those things change once that connection is broken. That's why it's so hard to get it back. Even if you decide to forgive, it's hard work.
I also say this though, taking sex off the table, if you are so connected to a person that you know everything about them, the slightest thing, the slightest change in their behavior, like my best friend, my ex-boyfriend, he literally, like, he didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't do anything. And we disconnected for a while. I went to school, I went to college, we disconnected for a while. My last year of college, he came back around. And I noticed that he was going out to drink more. He was going out to smoke. He was doing hookah, vaping. And when I came back into the picture, a lot of those things changed. And then right around the time we broke up, he started back with smoking, hookah, and vaping. And I was like, what's wrong? Because this is not something that you've been doing in a long time. And so, even just those things, it may not even be another relationship, it may be family pressures or whatever is going on in their mental state or whatever that causes them to go outside of a relationship. Not saying that it's the right thing to do, but that's just something else that you have to pick up on, because if it's not something that they're normally doing on their day-to-day basis and they start doing it, something wrong. So that's just energy, that's just being connected, taking sex off the table.
And that's right, because sex ain't everything, but it's showing up as a good sign. Jamel, what you got to say?
Well, I'm like this. With in every relationship, there is a certain interaction that happens, and a lot of times there are subtle nuances that are common to each person, and you can tell when those nuances are off. You can tell when, well, how come you aren't doing this that much, and how come you aren't, Dad, you're not speaking to me as sweetly or as softly as you usually do. Where's all this aggression coming from? Okay, well, you can really tell what's going on by paying attention to the subtle nuances, because sometimes people can cover their tracks when it comes to the big things. You know what I'm saying? Because the truth of the matter is, in a lot of relationships, we have a lot of very good actors, some Emmy Award winning actors, and we have to be very careful. So instead of looking at the big things, what I do is I look at the small things. I look at the nuances. I look at the things that nobody really pays attention to. I look at how your body language is. What is your body language when you're with me? Has it changed? Are you smiling as much? Are you or are you looking out the window more while we're driving? What is your body language? So when you start to look at the subtle nuances will tell you the story that nobody is really talking about. You know, and it's when you do that, you really get to know. I'm a Scorpio, so I'm a very detailed person. I look at the details. I look at how many times did you smile a day? I listen very well. I listen to the way the conversation goes. And I like to let people talk, because the more you let a person talk, they will eventually tell you what's really on their heart. And one of the biggest things that I've found out is that when a person begins to divulge their deepest feelings, they reveal their deepest thought as well. So I listen. I listen very well. I listen very well.
So how do you know when a person is cheated? Have you ever been cheated on?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And how did you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Outside
Well,
of, I might have caught you in the act, outside of all that, how did you know before you had any proof that, you know what, that hoe cheated?
basically, like I said, the subtle nuances. I could tell. I could tell if you aren't calling me. Like if we've established a pattern and you strayed away from that pattern, it lets me know something's going on. So
Mm-hmm.
if you've been calling me every night for the past 2 3 years at 12:30, and now you're calling me at 1 o'clock, or now you're calling me, I'm like, okay. I don't say much. I pay attention. If if you've been a little more agitated with me than usual, I'm a communicator. So I'll ask you, hey, is everything okay? What's going on? What's happening? Are we okay? Where are we? And if I search to hear, are you still agitated? What's really going on in that area? So if we're used to being on good terms and you're always agitated all of a sudden, okay, I'm paying attention to that. Another
Mm-hmm.
thing that I pay attention to is your acts of kindness to me. If you've switched up on the amount of kindness you've been giving out, sometimes you're not being overly aggressive. Sometimes you're not being uh, 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 as sweet. But it's like, okay, I expect that in everybody. But if I notice that there is a indifference there, then I'm like, okay, something's not right. Something not right. You're not this isn't really vibing. We're not on the same frequency. And what people don't understand is that when you really are the person, there's a certain frequency that we work off of. Our hearts work off of. Our minds work off of. And when that frequency is disrupted, you can tell. You can tell within your heart. You can tell within how you feel. And a lot of times, people will tell you, you can't really trust your feelings, but I really believe that you can trust your feelings when you're honest with yourself concerning what you are feeling. It's all about being honest with yourself. So, me, I had to learn how, because I've always been the type to be very trusting, very open, and so I would always give people the benefit of the doubt. It took me a while to realize, you know what? I have to hear what my spirit, what my feelings are saying to me. And as they're saying it to me, I have to convey it to you to let you know I see you. I see your movements. I see how you're acting. I see that things are not the same. And I'm going to call you to the carpet on it. And depending on how you respond, it lets me know what's going on. It's all about the response. It's all about the response. So I constantly probe with conversation. I constantly probe with acts of kindness. I constantly probe with how I treat you. And if something is coming back to me in a different way than it usually does, then it's letting me know that something's off. And usually 9.99999 times out of 100, I can tell you, I know. So that's how I do it.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I really think that we all do know. Now, it's whether or not we believe what we know is a completely different story. But we know, and sometimes we feel. Danger said, "Is he single?" Girl, because he just told his friend that he had to call her back.
Well, that's my friend. My friend is my friend.
Listen, everybody there's nothing wrong with friends. Friends are good. Daniel said honesty is the best policy. Omisha said body language is important as well, which it is. All of that, I'm not negating none of that. What I also do know is that your gut will tell you. I never forget, I was seeing somebody, this was like some years ago. Probably back in like 2011, 2012 or something like that. And I never forget, I literally walked through the front door. I was like, oh, who have you had here? And dude was like, oh, God ain't tell you that. I was like, somebody has been here. Who is she? You lying. I was like, no, something is off. And I kept saying it, something is off. I was like, something is off, something is off. And kind of find out because the girl was there. People do not fully understand that, especially with women. I keep saying that we're intuitive because we are naturally intuitive to our surroundings. We naturally can feel when someone else's energy has been within the midst of, whether it's in a home, whether it's on you, whatever it is, we can feel it. And whether or not we fully believe it, because a lot of the time men will literally walk around and try and act like we are crazy for saying what we're saying when we know full well exactly what we feel. And in that instance, dude tried to make me feel like I was like the crazy, and I wasn't crazy. I was right, because about maybe a week or so later, he had to admit, like, well, yeah, I had a girl. I was like, I told you that. Like, we could have resolved that right then and there in that day, but you wanted to walk around here like I was dumb or something, like I didn't know what the heck I was saying. And I did know what I was saying, but you know what? And all of that, truth be told, a lot of that begins to play a major role in a woman's psyche, and then you trying to convince her that what she feels is not right. So then she then walks around feeling as if what she's feeling is wrong, because she don't have no real concrete proof of what you're actually doing, when the truth of the matter is, nah, she right. She discerning all of that. She knew there was another spirit up in there that was not like the one that she left there. It was different. Something is roaming in this good atmosphere, and she could feel it. And I'm like, no, mm-mm. And ever since then, I knew to trust my little, I mean, except for with the ex, I didn't trust my little instinct, because my instinct kept telling me. And Gail, you know, I was like, maybe no, maybe, you know what? I'm gonna wait till I get some proof. That's what happens when you really start fully telling the whole full. When you start telling your whole full story, because see, that little blurb that people got in the book is not the full story of what actually did happen. And you know it, Gail. I know it. And as I began to literally write out the full gamut of everything that actually happened, I was like, girl, how did you miss? Why did you miss that?
But I think, Kia, that goes back to the when you're in a relationship and you're in quote unquote love, you have blinders on because you can't see past the puppy love stage that you may be in. And sometimes you got to go past that puppy love stage to experience what love really is, because it's not always about, oh, how he makes me feel. Oh, when I see him, I get so excited. No, it's about those times when you really down and out, when you done lost 3 people in 4 years and you sitting in your room crying. Or when I can go back to a time I had just graduated college. I was sitting upstairs in my room and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm struggling. Like, being in this entertainment industry, because I graduated with my bachelor's in broadcast production and media management, that wasn't taking off. I've always been good with kids, so daycare and teaching, that wasn't taking off. And I was really in this funk. And one day he told me, he was like, yo, you want to be married, you want to be in this relationship, you want all of this stuff. He said, I can't even get you to a place where I can give you a promise ring or an engagement ring because you're not even right. And so those were the days where, that's why to this day he's still my best friend, because whenever I was down and out, that was the true definition of love that I needed. It wasn't because I had blinders on. It was like, oh my gosh,
What
he's just he told me, he said, you want to be married, you want to promise ring and engagement ring, all this other stuff, but you're not mentally stable right now for me to even give you an engagement ring. You're not even in a space where I can say, you know what, let's do this wholeheartedly. And this is after years of being in a relationship. But because I was so into myself and just had blinders on from my situation, it took somebody else to come in and pull me and be like, no, we're not doing it. This ain't it. Because you can't get to your next place of whatever you want to do wallowing in where you are right now. And I was literally crying, like bawling my eyes out. He was like, I can't even have a conversation with you. So that's when you know that it's not just puppy love. It's, no, I'm here till the wheels fall off. But when you have blinders on and you're so stuck in puppy love that you don't even know what, you can't see all the red flags.
Now remember, we're talking about 23-year-old, 21-year-old. Yeah, a lot of people are appalled by what he said. They don't.
But this is conversations that was normal in my house. These is conversations that me and my mom had. I remember the day, I don't think I told you this, Mom, but I remember the day we was on FaceTime and he asked, he was like, will you marry me? Like,
She didn't tell me that. Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, what? And I thought he was playing, and I started laughing. And he got so upset, and he started crying on the phone.
But remember, they're not together anymore because his attitude does not mix too well with hers.
Yeah, I'm a Gemini. He's an Aquarius.
Not even that. His attitude. Kia got so much to say right now. Yeah. is about to pop off. But before we get to all what Kia wanted to say, I needed to go back for a couple of things. You know, I like to let people speak and didn't say my part. I think one of the key things is that Jamel said was experiencing your feelings and understanding your own feelings. I think, and that is key because feelings tell us, from a psychological standpoint, feelings tells us that we are not getting something that we need. So if you're feeling what we would assume as a negative emotion, sadness, depression, um, any of the negative things, anger sometimes, it means that something that you need is not being fulfilled. So that's the first thing I wanted to go back to. Um, the next thing I wanted to just say is that not only are men like really horrible cheaters and really bad at it, but women are too. Unfortunately, I'm on the scope where I do same sex relationships. I'm a lesbian, so I date a lot of women, and I'm usually the one that has um, the masculine energy, and so the women that I date are usually feminine, at least more feminine than me. And I'm not that playboy, even though a lot of women think I'm a playboy. I'm not the playboy type. And I am committed in my relationships, fully committed. And I've been through some experiences where you would be looking like a woman did that. Yes, women are very, very grimy. So just as grimy as men are, women are too. And
I believe it.
women are twice as grimy. Um, because they think they are suave enough to cover up their tracks. But when you're a person, like Jamel said, that loves
You keep wanting to call him
conversation,
Jamal.
I know, I don't know why. I'm so sorry. But when you're a person that loves conversation and communication, real communication, effective communication is your first language, and trying to find out and understand what's going on. And I know Kia said this is after dark. We can't really talk about God, but you know, when you and Jesus got a relationship, He gonna reveal some things to you if you keep on asking Him, Jesus, like, what's up with all
Your
this?
Wi-Fi connection strong?
Yeah, when your Wi-Fi connection strong with Jesus.
I'm sorry. Oh, that
um,
was good.
but yeah, so um, women can do the most and try to cover it up and act like, oh no, I didn't do that. You're just making that up. Well, why would you say that? Oh, it's nothing wrong. You know, we get attitudes and stuff, and we could get attitudes about the smallest things. So that was the other thing I wanted to point out. Now, lastly, let's get back to the kid. The kid that I have that's 23, um, and her boyfriend. As a parent of a, it's a difference when you're parenting adult children. And what I decided was I was not going to get in the middle of her relationship unless he had to be very disrespectful, put his hands on her, or do something out of the ordinary. If it was normal relationship stuff, I don't get in the middle of it. Now, do we sit down and have conversation, full fledged conversations about relationships and how he should handle her and how she should handle him in return? Yes.
I was about to say, good thing you said that because it's not a one-sided thing. My mom has had conversations with the both of us at the same time because I'm very strong-willed and I'm also very independent. I've been doing things on my own for myself since I was in high school. So I'm not used to having another person as telling me what to do or like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. So, and he's a man, and so he wanted to be the so not sole provider, but he wanted to always get little things and do little things. And I'm the type, If I got my own money, I can do it for myself. I know it's really bad. I'm growing out of it slightly, but that's just the way that I was brought up. I wasn't taught to take handouts. I don't like taking things from people. I don't like asking for things unless it's 120% necessary. And so that's the thing that me and him still have to deal with to this day, because like I said, he's my best friend. He tries to buy me things all the time and offer me things, and I'm like, no, I'm cool.
And I think the other part of that is from my end, from her watching me be in relationships with women, where I give women the sun, the moon, and the stars. Um, and she never want. She used to be like, "Oh, why you gotta give them? Why they gotta have all that? Like, you can't just get them one thing. You gotta, like, birthdays. You gotta go all out for them. You gotta do all of this." And I was teaching her, this is how you're supposed to be treated.
But then again, I did it in return for his birthday. So for his birthday, for all of that type of stuff, yeah, for his birthday and
But
Valentine's
that's
Day.
not what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but I'm saying on the flip side, because I saw you do it, I did that in return for him.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
We have mother daughter moments every once in a while. But go ahead, kid, because you look like you got a lot to say.
Yeah. Fatty,
Kia has known me since I was like, what, 14, 15, something like that?
Yeah, but you're on the podcast.
I know, but I'm saying to give the listeners insight as to why her reaction is what her reaction is.
because okay, if we go back to what you said before, first of all, the issue was not whether or not you were ready for marriage or anything like that. The issue truly was whether or not he was prepared as a man to be what you would have needed him to be in that moment and in that time and in a lifetime, right? So for y'all to be 23 years old, you're dealing with disappointment. That's what I heard. I'm dealing with disappointment. I graduated college. I majored in this. This isn't taking off. I was always good with children, but this isn't taking off. I don't know which way to go. I'm not sure which way I need to go. And the only thing he could come back to you and say is, and you think you ready for marriage? Nigga, first of all, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about life. We're talking about direction. I'm not even talking about marriage right now. I'm talking about which way should I go? And you can't even offer me not an ounce of insight into anything that would have guided me in the right and in the proper direction. Therefore, you're not ready for marriage neither, because you're not even ready to lead in the way in which that you're supposed to lead as a man. Forget all this. Let me tell you something. I told one of my friends today, I said, one of the things that has, and I'm going to paraphrase what I said, one of the things that has truly awakened in me after everything that I have been through was a standard of a man, point blank, period. And if he ain't at that standard, we're not talking. I'm not saying hello. I'm not saying goodbye. I'm not saying nothing. But for the simple fact that there has been a standard that has been awakened, point blank, period. And if you're not there, you just not there. So at the end of the day, none of y'all was ready for marriage or anything to go forward. But for him to just project that onto you, because in a moment of weakness, in a moment where you really and truly just needed strength, that's what you needed, strength. He couldn't even re-strengthen you. He couldn't even offer you strength. What he offered you was to tell you, and you think you ready for this? Well, you aren't neither, because that's what the hell you just said to me. So therefore, we aren't even playing grounds here, because you're not ready for it neither. Number two, at the age of 23, in this day and age, is not the same as being 23 back when I was 23, right? It's also not the same as being 23 when, not your mother, because your mother's younger than me. So therefore, when your grandparents, okay, let's add that up in there.
I am not that much younger than you, kid.
That's not the point. The point is that you are actually younger than me. So therefore, I can't say when your mama was 23 because I already established it when I was 23. So I got to now throw another age generation up in there. When your
Right.
grandparents was 23. We are talking about different generations of time. When my mother in them group, which would be your grandparents in them group, were at the age of 23, they was getting married, they was having children, they was doing all of that because the times were different. We are in different times even today where I personally would not recommend a 23-year-old to get married if they were not established, right? Now, the flip side of that is that you still do got some 23-year-olds and also the other extra stuff, people getting married that are willing to build with each other. The key is that you have to do what is right for you within your own personal situation and within your own personal relationship. You got some damn near 50-year-olds that ain't trying to get married. You hear me?
That's the truth.
Okay, I am 39 years old, and I know people that are even my age, a little bit older, slightly older, far way older, ain't trying to get not near a bit of a married, don't want to have not near a bit of actually, and it's not even that they don't even want to be married. Half them don't even want to be in a committed relationship. That's real.
Right. And I say this. Relationships are for grown people. If you don't want to be grown and have real conversations, then you don't need to be in a relationship. Because if we can
Relationships
keep
are for
playing
mature
little games,
people.
yeah. If you want to keep
Mhm.
playing games, then you in the wrong ball game because you gonna get yourself messed up. You're gonna put yourself in positions that you don't need to be in, and you're gonna get yourself hurt. And then you're gonna go around projecting that hurt on other people because we don't deal with the hurt. We just let it sit, and we think that jumping into another relationship is gonna cure everything, and it doesn't. So you got to be grown about your stuff, and you got to make sure that at the end of the day, you're whole, healed, and complete before you get into a relationship.
You don't let me help you out. You don't have to be whole, healed, and complete to get into a relationship because there truly are some people that can literally work with you as you're within your process of healing because healing is truly a continual process. There are things that have taken place within all of us that have happened to all of us that have literally broken in some aspect of us. So we then take the time in order to heal from it, and we're forever healing. Why? Because there's always another place that we're realizing, like, yo, you know what? Okay, wait. There's some residue. I gotta go heal from that real quick. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with having baggage. You know what I'm saying? We all sang Erykah Badu song "Bag Lady." You gonna hurt your back carrying all them bags like that. But at the end of the day, there are some real good people out here, men and women alike, that will literally sit up here and help you unpack them bags, fold everything, and put it up, so that you never have to revisit that baggage and carry that baggage again. And you know, it takes a special person to be able to do that. It takes a special person to be able to see that that is what you absolutely need. And it also takes a special person to understand not to take advantage of you in your time of weakness of unpacking all that good baggage. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, we all got it. From the time you were born, you started accumulating baggage. You feel me? And at the end of the day, at a certain point in time, we all got to be able to unpack it, and we have to be comfortable within the realm of unpacking it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want you to feel like it was because you were not ready for marriage that this is why. No, it had nothing to do with you not being ready for it. Y'all were not ready for it. Y'all were not
Right.
prepared for it. He was not mentally mature for it. You were not mentally mature for it. You were still trying to figure things out for yourself. He's still trying to figure other things out for himself. And until he really fully understands his position as a man, he won't be ready for it. And that comes with time. And that comes with understanding what a man's role and responsibility is. And as far as women, it comes with understanding what our role and responsibility is within a relationship. All this stuff, man, listen, I can sit up here and I can clown all day because I definitely can clown all day about this whole little cheating stuff. Okay, I will clown till kingdom come about that. Okay, but the truth of the matter is that a committed relationship is truly for the mature and ones whom are ready for that level of commitment. Period. That's how that works. And if you're not ready for it, no matter how many, listen, You could be the full package. You could have everything that you possibly could need. You could be the one. You could have whatever little rules and whatever little qualifications that people got. You could be that. And if a person is not committed to a relationship, you won't be that for that person. Point blank, period. It doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? You could take care of them. You could buy them whatever you want to buy them. You could celebrate them on the birthday. You could take them out to all types of dinners. And this is across the board. This goes for men and women. You could do everything that you think is right to do. You could cook for them. You could clean their little dirty drawers and panties. You could make sure the house stay clean. If you ain't got no kids, you could take care of their kids. And guess what? None of that is going to mean anything for a person that is not ready to commit, period. I done lived it. I done been through it all with some of these little men around here. And guess what? I still ended up being choked out, still ended up with my head going through a car window, still ended up divorced, still ended up broken up, still ended up going through an annulment. Why? Because when people are not ready to commit, you could be the perfect package and they still ain't going to respect what you offering. Point blank, period.
Absolutely.
You know what?
Go ahead, Janelle.
Sometimes I think what we don't realize is that sometimes in our bonding, we have to differentiate what type of bonding we're doing in the beginning of the relationship, because a lot of our relationships are bonds through trauma, and that's a very serious thing because when one person ends up healing from the trauma quicker than the other, then they have nothing else to bond around or with, and so now the other person who has not healed either becomes jealous of the one who has healed, or you trigger their insecurity because you have healed and you've grown, and it stops the process of growing together because the bonding was a trauma bonding. It wasn't a bonding that was genuine. It was just we went through the same things, but just because we go through the same things, one person can do the work to heal and another may not work as fast or doesn't do the work. And in turn, what you'll find out is that, well, what do we have? What do we have in common other than this trauma? What else do we have in common? Because a lot of times we're so busy dealing with who hurt us, how we were hurt, the times we were hurt, and we recognize when we were hurt, but we never talk about how do we heal together? How do we become better together? So therefore, once one heals, the other is left holding their trauma while the other one has gone on to another place, just mentally. So, and then another thing is the fact of, we have to be ever so careful when it comes to relationships, because sometimes while in a relationship, you'll find yourself growing at leaps and bounds. Like, one thing I try to do as a man is I try to grow daily. I don't make that a every week thing or every month thing. I try to grow daily. But if I'm working on me every day, if I'm doing certain things to check me every day, if I'm applying maturity in my own life by being brutally honest with myself about myself concerning the things that I do, concerning the things that I say, and you're not doing the same things, eventually we're going to meet a crossroads that says we're not sharing common space anymore. Because in that growth, if one is growing and one is not, there is a tearing. And eventually, maturity will either show you it will either show you the people that are around you and with you, or it'll show you exactly where you are, and sometimes you some of the worst people to be in relationships with are mature people today, because you're dealing with an immature society. The whole society is geared towards immaturity. All of society, love and hip hop. Women and men watch that show. They see how the relationships work on that show, and as they become fascinated with that show, their fascination begins to produce that in their own lives. They produce that reality because of that fascination. So we have to be very careful of the things that we become fascinated with. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
we got Love and Hip Hops. We have the Housewives of Atlanta and Housewives of New York, Housewives of Detroit. We got all of these shows that show, especially for black men and women, it shows a bunch of immature, unhealed people who are constantly ripping open each other's wounds. And we become so fascinated with it that that is what we materialize within our own relationships. And part of that I really believe is political, and part of that I believe is financial. So we have to, there's so many different layers. A lot of, and I'll say this and I'll finish. A lot of our relationships can't grow to another level because there are there are traps and speed bumps set in front of us to deter us from having successful relationships, because successful relationships do not produce money. Successful relationships do not produce good content in this generation, in this age. In this age, it's all about the drama. In this age, it's all about the hurt. In this age, it's all about how I can get back at you. In this age, it's about who's more savage, and it's it hinders healthy relationship. It hinders healthy healthy bonding. It hinders, and it makes it almost impossible for younger relationships to spot genuine healthy relationships because they're so over inundated with a bunch of negative relationships. So, yeah.
And just to piggyback off of what he says, um, I truly believe I learned this. I was watching Oprah and she had Ayanna Van Zant on there. And anybody who knows me knows I'm a fan of Ayanna Van Zant. But I was probably in my last year of high school. Um, and she said relationships, most times the relationship will mirror what you do not like about yourself. So you are literally standing, that person is literally a mirror to you of what you do not like about yourself. And so a lot of times, because we're not in touch with who we are outside of a job or a title or a position, we don't know who we are. And so we get in relationships, and these relationships mirror who we are or what we do not like about who we are. The second thing is that most of the times, your relationship is either going to uh, you're either going to get in a relationship where you're trying to get far away from a relationship in your childhood that you saw that you didn't like. It's usually your parents, your grandparents, whoever raised you. You're either going to try and be as close to the relationship that you saw, or try to get farthest away from that relationship because it did something to you that you did not like. I hope that came out right. Um, so that's another thing we do in our relationships. If you've seen your parents, you know, do a lot of things, they were together, they never argued, they never fought in front of you, all that, then you try and pattern your relationship around that. But if you had a rocky relationship with your parents, a lot of times your relationships when you grow up it's going to show that. I hope that made sense. And then lastly, we are quick with this generation is quick with trying to cut people off. Like as soon as one thing go wrong, you cut. And I understand what they're trying to say, but you can't have a successful relationship without making it through the potholes and all the other things. My parents have been married 40, my sister is 45. I can say my parents have been married 44 years,
Mhm.
but they've been dating since they've been in the 6th grade. And not to say
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't have any issues. However, they chose to be committed to the relationship. And if you're not committed and make the commitment to yourself to be committed to the relationship, you saying you committed to me doesn't mean anything because you're not committed to yourself to be committed to the relationship.
But all right, so even with some of the older generation, not your parents per se, but some of the older generation dealt with a lot of crap to stay in their relationships at long. There were certain things that took place that they did not address because Lord knows, children start popping up out of the woodworks. Things start showing up out of the woodworks. And what began to happen was that, and what we began to realize was that, okay, grandma and them started to, or they accepted certain things that we find to be unacceptable today, right? Like, I never forget, I was younger, I was in my 20s, and I was dating a guy, and he had a baby on me. And I was like, okay, this is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to really process through all of that, you know. And I didn't necessarily process through all of that. I was like, you probably need to go be with your baby mother. Like maybe that's where you should be at this point, you know, because I'm not her. Like I can't do that. And you know, a lot of times the things in which we have literally said, I'm not tolerating, are things that in the older generation they have tolerated, and
Mm-hmm.
things that were acceptable to where we're saying, no, this is not acceptable. I'm not tolerating none of that. Like at the end of the day, don't bring no other babies up in here. Now, granted, reality TV is a totally different ball game because some of this reality TV just ain't that much reality in the whole wide world. Some of it is truly staged, but we have seen some of the most horrific things that have taken place on reality TV. I watch a TV show on OWN called Love and Marriage Huntsville, and I am never one to comment on someone else's marriage, but when you put it out there for the public to see, I then comment. I can comment on it because it's public knowledge, right? And you watch a husband who cheats on his wife for years, and then you watch a wife say, "That's it, it's over, I'm done." Wife then learns that she's pregnant. Now it's no longer it's over, I'm done. It's well, we about to have a baby, so I got to figure this out, blah blah blah, which is perfectly fine because everybody has to do what's right for them and what's within their realm. But at the same time, you then can't get indignant and get all frustrated and downright just straight up nasty because people are basically saying we knew you were going to stay anyway. I
I
never
think
when I went through that shit with old boy, people told me don't talk about it publicly if you're just going to go back. Who told you I was going back?
mm-hmm.
I'm a different person. And people, like, there are certain things that you just don't get to do to me publicly and think that I'm just going to run back to you and take more of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not happening. But we see things every day where people are literally being dehumanized and humiliated publicly. And whether it's a man or a woman, because it's happening on all ends, they're being taken back, but they're still dealing with the ramifications of what they actually did. And you want to know why? Because forgiveness is not something that is very easy for any one of us to do, especially when it comes to cheating and adultery. That is the one of the worst things I find that you could ever do to a person is to cheat on them, man or woman, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, it does something to their psyche and how they view themselves and how they respect themselves, how they value themselves, how they look at themselves, all that stuff. Cheating does that, whether people want to admit it or not. And the reason being is because you have a lot of men that have been cheated on. You have a lot of men that have been accused of things that they have not necessarily done. And because they've been accused of things that they have not necessarily not necessarily have done, they have been accused of cheating when they have not cheated. They have been accused of being liars when they have not lied. They have been accused, like you have all these things that even men have been accused of, even down to women. Women have been accused of that they have not done. And it does something to you when you have to constantly stand in defense of yourself because of what someone perceives as an action. So then you take the mind frame of, well, you know what? I don't want a relationship. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that, because you know what? Folks have just sat up here and they have accused and they have said this and they have said that, and I ain't even did nothing. So it's only a matter of time before you do the same thing. And then you have the flip side of it. These little lying, cheating, manipulating, controlling, narcissistic,
I had to scratch my
sociopathic,
face.
So you turn your camera off?
sociopathic, whatchamacallits that you got running around here, you know what I'm saying, that have done all things that they have been accused of, but have the audacity to stand in your face and say, I have not done none of that. And I'm actually offended that you have accused me of this, because I have not done not such a thing, when you know for a fact they have done it. And then they continue in a pattern of hurting people, because men and women alike are narcissistic and sociopathic. And then you sit up here and you wonder why you have so many people sitting up here hurt and confused and lost and don't know what they want when it comes down to relationship. There are people that literally don't have the slightest idea of what they want, but they know what they don't want. I could give you a list of don't wants, but I can't give you a list of wants. Something is wrong with that. When I can tell you what I don't want. What I don't want a liar. I don't want a cheater. I don't want a manipulator. I don't want a controller. I don't want someone that literally does not respect the sanctity of marriage. I don't want someone that doesn't know how to love. I don't want someone that doesn't know how to communicate. I don't want someone that doesn't know just the simplicity of life and love and happiness and joy and peace. We can run down all the list of what I don't want, but someone considers, oh, okay, well, you know what? What do you want? And you got to sit here and think about it. Like, well, you know what? Well, and then you got to ask them, in what aspect are you talking about? And what aspect do you need? And really and truly, it means, what do you want? What do you
When
want?
I feel like when you can't express what you want, you can't tell somebody else, because I have to know what I want before I can tell you what I want. And if I can't do that, it goes back to what are my expectations, because I can tell you what I don't expect, but I can't tell you what I expect. And when you
But
when
why
you
is
go,
that?
because a lot of times in relationships we allow other people to throw their expectations of what a relationship should be on us.
But
And you
what
can,
do you
and
think your expectations are? Like, you are 23 years old right now, right?
yes,
Okay, so right now you finding yourself. I mean, we in the Corona times. Everybody ain't got a job, so we ain't talking about jobs.
right,
There's about 30 million Americans in the same boat as you with no job, right?
right,
Let's throw that out there, right? So we
right,
ain't talking about that. We also, there are millions of people that have that literally have experienced death, right?
right.
People. So we ain't talking about that, because you know what? We get it. We need to be strong for everybody that's experienced death, especially in these times, right? Especially
Absolutely.
in these short amount of times, right? So let's remove all of that from the table. All of that is literally actually null and void, right? What does Betty
Mhm.
want?
I like to travel. I want somebody that's interested in the things that I'm interested in. I love taking pictures. I love music. We have to have the same core values. Family. I love my family. It's not a lot of us, but it's enough of us. And I like to have fun. I like to laugh a lot. If you say anything and it's funny to me, the joke will go on for days. But I also know that I want somebody who can be serious and have a serious conversation. And when it's time to take care of business, you can handle your business. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because I'm a straight shooter when it comes to my business. Um, You have to be able to have intelligent conversation, not just a conversation. Because if we can't have an intelligent conversation when it comes down to the political issues and things that are going on right now, we can't relate because you can't have a serious conversation. You have to be up on current events and all of those type of things. So that's what I want. And but that came from me not allowing other people to put their expectations of what my relationship should be on me.
You got a journal, Betty?
I do.
All right, so here's what I want you to do. Today we are already in the 20th day of July, right? So we at the
Yeah.
20th day. I want you to take your journal and write down for July 28th at 12:31 a.m. This is what I want. And I want you to keep, and I'm telling you this because I want you to keep track of this, because at 23, what you want, and then you're going to continue this exercise on as you get older. Because sometimes what we want at this one age, it will begin to shift as we get older, right? Because as we mature and as we grow, as we should, then our wants and everything should shift. And being at that, you are 23 years old right now, it's a good practice, because someone should have told me this, because if I would have kept my good journal about my wants at a younger age compared to my wants now at the age of 39, I probably wouldn't have experienced as much heartache as I experienced going through the stages of life and understanding what it is that I absolutely want. And then you got to focus on, after you get over your wants, what is it that I absolutely need,
Need.
right?
Yep.
So we could write our wants in one column, then we write our needs in the other column, and then we begin to assess them as we get older and as our viewpoint on life begins to change. Because some things are literally going to evolve and some things are going to fall off, right?
Yep.
So you write that stuff down because it's literally going to help you and it's going to grow you in your quest for, actual relationship that you would want to lead to marriage, right? Because that's important, and those are some of the things that we don't do. And then on top of that, in this good journal of yours, write out for your own personal self, okay, how do I view myself? How do I see me? How do I know me? How do I count me in, right?
Mhm.
Then on the other side of that, you're going to write down, okay, and how does God see me? How does God know me? How does God view me? What is that, right? And then you just do that every so often. Like you can do it every year, you can do it every 2 years. Take them same things as far as what I want compared to what I need in a relationship. And then how do I view me? How does God see me? Boom. And you begin to evolve all of that and you go through your own stages. That's how you go through your stages of life. That's
Yeah.
how you begin to like literally evolve in your own thinking and in your own thought process. And sometimes I just wish that people just would have been just as real with me at a younger age compared to me having to find all this stuff out now at an older age and trying to figure this stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have saved me a whole lot of time, whole lot of money, because I done did too many bids with too many people and wasted too much money on collect calls, commissary, okay, jail visits, okay, and all this other foolishness I done wasted. I done paid church rents, okay. I'm just saying, I done paid them, okay? Church
Yeah.
rent, okay? I done paid folk honorariums, okay? I done paid a whole, listen here, I done paid too
I
much.
know. I know. I remember.
Me too.
What do you, yes.
Me too,
We
Kia.
remember the days.
So therefore, if someone would have guided me in the ways in which I should have gone, then I wouldn't have made a lot of the errors, okay, and the mistakes that I made. So do that for your own self in your own journal. Do, because it's imperative for your life that you begin to journal this stuff out and you learn and be ain't nobody. One thing, let me say this: ain't nobody telling you what you need to do. You understand what I'm saying? But this is about guiding you in the right direction so that you don't fall into the traps that some of us have actually fallen into that we know better from. You know what I'm saying? Like What job would I have if I don't use what I know to warn you of, okay, this is the danger that could be ahead if you continue to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as your career and all of that is concerned, one of the things about sometimes with our careers, we have to understand that we've chosen a path of entrepreneurship, right? So now you have to build in a way of you becoming an entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, you are now coming up in a time where the competition is too high to go into a corporate structure. The competition is too high to go into, like, like the media structure. So now you got to take the time out for yourself and say, okay, how can I build this thing on my own? How can I build my empire? And part of that is going to be building up your portfolio of what you do. So
Yeah.
now for you, you're going to need to start offering some services for free to get your name out there. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If
Mhm.
you want to be an editor, then you need to get your name out there. If you want to be a content creator, then you need to get your name out there and start offering people, listen, I can do X, Y, and Z for you. And that will be, I just need you to give me the credit for what I'm doing.
Mhm.
You agree to give me the credit, boom, let's do it. And then
Yeah.
you begin to build your name, you begin to build your brand, and then people will naturally just come and be like, okay, well, how much do you charge for this? And then you build out your services from there. I had to learn that because, sometimes, like, I've been giving away a lot of my good free information, and it's free.
Right.
People charge for this level of information. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have people really paying $300 and $400 for a master class for what I'm saying. Listen, free game. This is what you need to do. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason being is because if I can obtain the knowledge for free, then you should be able to get it for free. I'm not trying to charge you $1,000 for 3 sentences that I done made into a whole class. Stop it. And that's word. So, start focusing on what you do. You're an awesome photographer. You're an awesome videographer. You know how to.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are. I see you. You know, your mom boasts about you. Girl, Betty did this for the church. Betty did that for the church. So you know how to do what you're doing. Now it's time to say, okay, I need to branch out. Y'all need,
Mhm.
y'all need. You know what? We got a black-owned New Jersey, so somebody need to create a group in Philly for black-owned Philly, and that's what you need. You need that right there. Because that's important. That's how we grow. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we grow within our own communities. I don't know, Jabel, you got some good words of encouragement for our good 23-year-old. I love it when the young people come on here. I was about to be
Uh,
clowning tonight on a good after dark, but Betty done came on, so now you just need to encourage her.
yeah, I think one of the main things that would help that helped me was that I had to learn that facts facts weren't the thing that controlled my life. Sometimes people will spew a lot of facts to you concerning what the statistics say and what how things are, and I think the greatest advice I can give to you is to live in your truth. Live in what you create. You have the power to create, and you have the power to control the narrative of your life. The pen of the story of your life is in your hands. So when you do that, you have the whole world as your oyster. You can do whatever it is you want to do. You can go wherever it is you want to go. So I think you have to. I think the the biggest message would be that you know your life is sovereign. You are the sovereign in your life. And I know a lot of people are like, oh no, the Lord Jesus is the sovereign in my life. Oh Jesus, yeah, I hear you. But at the end of the day, you are the sovereign in your life because even you had to choose Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or whoever you wanted to serve. You had to make the choice. So you are sovereign in your life. And when you work from that premise, whatever you may consider as failures will no longer be failures, but they'll be stepping stones. And when you work from that premise, then there really is no failure for you. It's always a lesson learned. It's always something that you can apply, always something that you can tweak, always something that you can do better. You know, and I think another thing that will help you, that kind of helped me along the way, is be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. Sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to be at certain places at certain times in our life that we end up making a mess because we're not being patient with ourselves. Sometimes our lives are being paced by God or paced by whoever we perceive God to be. And with that being said, you know, certain things you won't have like other people have at certain ages, Because I remember, oh man, my mother used to tell me, now when you reach 30, you want to have this and you want to do this and you want to. And then when I was 30, I didn't have a lot of those things. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of felt like a failure at that point, and I had to really realize that no, maybe that might have been what worked for you, Mom, but your life and my life are two different journeys. We have two separate journeys. And on my journey, I might have to take the long route to see certain things you didn't see, because there'll be certain things in my life that'll help other people that you won't be able to help other people in, and vice versa. So, be patient with yourself. Don't allow no one to rush you into anything. If you're patient with yourself, then everybody else has to follow suit. Be patient with yourself. So, those two pieces of encouragement, it'll take you far. It'll take you far.
And what's good about what you said, Kia? I'm in an organization called Girl Talk Global. We were Girl Talk Philly for 10 years, but then we went global, and our motto is telling stories to save lives. Telling stories saves lives. And it just goes back to, being able to help other people. And we had this thing where we did a girl chat on Zoom, and it was just all of us telling our stories, all of the girls sharing their stories. And the thing that we don't realize goes back to what Jamel was saying about being patient, is that we rush ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to the stage in my life where I'm not rushing. I'm not going too fast. I'm not going too slow. I'm just moving, because like Jamel said, you can mess yourself up. When you don't pace yourself, when you rush, when you're in a hurry to do everything, you miss moments. And we see with COVID, you can't afford to miss no moments,
Mm-mm.
because when you miss moments, you forget the beauty of it. It's so many beautiful things and experiences that we don't take time to actually appreciate, because we're so go go go.
Yep.
When I graduated, I came home and I was just like, what am I doing with my life? Because I'm so used to having to turn in the paper, to do a photo shoot, to do a video shoot, to turn something in. And I really had to really sit down and be like, you're not in school anymore. You don't have deadlines. You create your own deadline. And with me creating my own deadlines, I kind of got lazy. So part of it is I'm just being lazy, because I'm happy to be home and not have to do everything all at one time. But I had to light a fire under myself, because I'm like, you're sitting here on thousands of dollars worth of equipment that you have, not doing anything with it. But at the same time, I'm not rushing myself, because I don't want to miss the moment and the beauty of every experience that I've gone through. Because just like Kia, I think just like Kia, she knows a lot of the stuff that I've gone through. And so, in knowing that, I missed a lot of stuff. I missed a lot of beautiful moments, because I was so gung ho on trying to get to the next place. So it's really good what you're saying about patience and not rushing yourself and telling stories, because if you don't tell your story, you can't help somebody.
And that is the truth. Gail, you got something?
So the last piece I want to give is because you guys are seeing a true mother daughter moment, I think, in some aspects.
Hold up. And I came on here to straight clown, and you got me over here.
You did
Y'all
it. You
just
did it.
be flipping
I
me.
I told you don't bring the philosopher on the line. I told you that before we started.
I'm
I
not
She
the
was
just been.
philosopher.
going straight clown, and here come. But
I
this,
told you don't bring her
but
on the
it's okay.
line.
Because Vetty, it's okay. Because you know what? This is what we here for.
I'm
You
not the philosopher though.
You don't
I
have
didn't.
to be there. You know
You,
what? That just means
I know.
you just so damn intelligent. You know what I'm saying? That we call you the philosopher, the one who thinks differently. Okay.
yes.
Yes.
But one of the things, because I had my daughter, so part of my story, and I have many stories, but part of my story is I had my daughter when I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been a parent, um, and we have grown up together as well as parenting Yvette at the same
Right.
time. And that's a different type of relationship, than somebody that's 35 or even 30 having a child when you're 14 and having a child and growing up with your child. And through that time, I've learned so many things. And one of the things as she became and came into her adulthood, especially with her leaving and going away to college, because I never thought that she would go away to college. I thought Yvette would stay in Philly and um, go to school. And she
Mm-hmm.
surprised me when she said she was going to Pittsburgh. Well, one of the reasons why she went to Pittsburgh is because Pittsburgh gave her
The most
um,
money.
the most money. They gave her 14,000, almost $16,000
Yeah, a
um,
semester.
a semester to go to school.
Come
So
on, Pittsburgh.
yeah, she had the founders. I believe it
The
was the
Founders
founders
Award.
scholarship, and she got it every year. So that's something to definitely be proud of, coming from a predominantly black school district going into a predominantly white school,
Institution.
that is private. It was not just predominantly white, but it was a white private college. She went to Point Park University. So to see my daughter go from high school, straight from high school, transition into a predominantly all white college university was amazing. But what I learned when she went away, and I had to parent from a distance, is that me harping on her and being that parent, what you doing, how you doing, I had to have more conversations with her, and I've always been a person that have conversations with her. But I had to be more, let her grow. She gonna make some mistakes. You're just the person that's going to be there. You're going to be the hand that's there to pick her up off the ground when she need to. But if you put your hand out there too soon, she not going to get the lessons. And so some things I just let her learn her way through,
Mm-hmm.
and let her grow, because that's the only way she gonna grow. If I keep on babying her every step of the way, guess what? She not gonna grow. And sometimes I have to tell her no. And sometimes I
Mm.
gotta say, no, not today. Well, I can't do that. And sometimes it makes her very upset because I know how to spoil my kid. She's my only child. I ain't had no more after that. So I used to call her my one and only. This my one and only, And so I I I have always been in a position most times to give her whatever she wanted when
Mm-hmm.
she wanted it. And as she got older, I had to stop giving her what she wanted when she wanted it. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to make her earn certain things. So we started the earning process at a very early age. So she didn't get a new game system every year the game came out,
Right. She earned
but
it.
she had to earn it. And part of earning the new game system was taking care of the old one.
Mm-hmm.
So there was lessons and things that I started to instill in her from the very beginning. The other thing, I used to be a teen parent advocate, and one of the things I told my teens, and some of the things that I still tell some adults that I have conversations with about raising children, is this: You have to trust that what you put into your children when they were much younger, that when you're not around, they will reach back and gravitate and grab that and get them out of a situation. So
Mm-hmm.
when she was younger, all she knew was going to church. All she knew was prayer. All she knew was, you know, and at a very early age, at 8, I didn't have to say to her, go get your Bible and read it. She had a regular King James Bible that she would be reading at 8
And I
at
could
night.
understand the things that were in it. I think that's another part too, because it's not just me being there, it's me being able to understand it,
What was going
what
on?
was going on, and not just being there because I was told to be there.
Yeah,
Mm.
she was an active participant. And just like she went to college, but I took her when I went to Cheney University when I got out of high school. And every weekend I would come home and pick her up and take her on the college campus. She has been to almost every job that I had. So I exposed her to a lot of different things that
Mm-hmm.
allowed her to see that it's more out here than these four walls, or you being some type of athlete, or you being some type of video girl. Reason why communications is the field that she's in is because as a family, we've been doing communications as a family since I've been little. Since I've been the age of 8, I was building studios with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what you instill into your kids, and you just have to trust that when they get in trouble, when things arise, that they will reach down and gravitate back to that and not gravitate to what some of the other things that they have been exposed to outside of your presence.
Right. I can agree with that.
So that's my take. Being a young parent, you know, wasn't always easy. But look, we made it through it. She's a graduate, and I'm a proud mama that 4 years straight through. And you don't hear too many people talking about their kids going straight through college, especially in a predominantly white school where she had to deal with, that was her first introduction
To
to
racism,
racism.
Mm.
which was a huge thing. I think it was different because I've always been around Caucasian people or white people, but to actually have to sit and like keep my mouth shut and not go off when I wanted to when they were doing the crazy things, and you just be like what? And because I wasn't the head of what I was in, like I had a leading position, but I wasn't, in the position that I can go and be like, no, we can't do this. It was harder for me in that aspect to keep my mouth shut on those issues. So now when the whole Black Lives Matter thing is different because I'm not in a position where I have to keep my mouth shut.
Yep.
So
Like I can speak on these things.
yeah, it was a way to I could have did it back then, but because we had other things in the picture, it wasn't as easy.
Right.
So
Well, that's all right. We're gonna continue this level of conversations with the muzzle after dark. We don't created something new, y'all. The muzzle after dark.
oh
Okay.
god.
And whenever we feel like it, we're gonna get on this muzzle after dark, and we're gonna talk about whatever we're gonna talk about without Betty, because Betty, I'm not doing this again. Okay, I came on here to straight up clown, talk about men and women cheating and how we could know the difference
We
and stuff like
did.
that.
We talked
Yeah,
about
but
it.
we did, but then we had to get on. Then we had to talk about you and your good little ex boyfriend.
The funny thing is he was watching and he was like, really? So
Yes, tell
what?
him, tell
What?
him really. I hope he's still watching. Yes,
I told him
really.
I told him I said we'll have a conversation later.
He tell him he could text me. How about that?
No.
Sir, text me. Okay.
Oh
You
god.
you even can inbox me. I will respond to that filtered message through the message
Oh
request.
Lord Jesus help.
Okay. will help him
We need to call
become.
on Jesus for that one.
Tell him he can inbox Jamel if he just want to talk to a man.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Over here, Sir. You know what? His new nickname is Sir Projector because he's showing up projected all of that on you. That was a good projection. Okay. Call people. I don't care. We tell him at the Muzzle Zone, we talk about all our experiences.
Right, and I think that was his thing. He wasn't mad about it. He was just
Girl, I
like,
know, I'm just
you put me
clowning.
out. I know, but it was like you put me out there. I was like, look.
Tell him we don't know his name.
And that's what I said. I said, they don't even know who you are.
We sure enough don't. But tell him I'll find out.
Oh, he.
You
Over
don't
here.
have to ever
We don't
worry
have
about
to worry about that.
You know, her mother is the greatest detective ever.
Over here projecting.
And you know, my cousins, they be on it. So.
Well, good. But no, this was good. I thank y'all for coming on this good after dark. You know, we done did some impromptu. The Muzzle after dark. With my apples.
That's what she was over there eating?
Apples. I told y'all thought I was joking about this good peaches and cream, strawberries and cream, all of the apples and listen.
You know what?
It gets on my nerves.
I can't respond in the manner
Please
that
don't.
I want to respond.
Please don't.
Tia, don't do that.
Please don't.
Do that,
No,
Tia.
thank you, because I already know what you're thinking. And no.
Tia, don't do it.
Y'all white folks need to start eating more strawberries and blueberries and stuff.
I told you. Listen,
But just know it be cheating when you start smelling like that fish market compared to your peaches and cream. You know what I'm saying? Peaches and cream. When you know you peaches and cream, and next thing you know, you start smelling like Frankie Beverly and Mace after you done perform. Something wrong.
Listen, there is a truth in you are what you eat.
Next thing you know.
There's a truth in that. I just want to let y'all understand.
Next thing you know, you smell like the women's bathroom in the church.
Not at the church.
After 15 women and went and used 2 stalls.
Oh God. Not at the church.
I just keep on saying to you, you are what you eat. I just want you to know.
I'm out of
mangoes is pineapples.
Pineapple, mango, strawberry, blueberry. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, you about to have me in trouble.
I'm out of this conversation. I'm over it. No.
Both want to sit up here and eat asparagus all day. No, that ain't
wrong,
that ain't right.
Wrong
that's not. I was about to say that's not even fruit.
Vegetable. Wrong vegetable.
Asparagus don't help. Asparagus don't help that.
Yeah, and let's just
show here. Come on, teach.
That's what I'm trying to teach the people. You feel me?
I was just about to say, let's just give them a word of wisdom is if you plan on having any sexual encounters, you may not want to eat asparagus before you have that sexual encounter.
Yeah, you just might not. Okay. Asparagus does not help your areas.
It throws your pH balance off. Okay.
And I'm gonna tell y'all what else throws your pH balance off. Sirs, okay? Stop running up in people raw and then running up in the next person raw. Okay? Because guess what? You raw, okay, and her little juices is getting inside your little area right there. And you think that just because you took that good shower that is clean. It is not. There's something called bacteria, because every woman has it. Everyone, whether it's healthy or not, okay? So just because she smells like peaches and cream don't mean she don't have bacteria. Everybody got bacteria. Therefore, that bacteria resides inside your little hole area. So you done went up in this one raw, then you done went up in that one raw, and now they two bacteria is fighting each other, and both them sitting up here trying to figure out why they got to go to the OBGYN.
She said they fighting each other.
It's
War
just
within the
real.
body.
Okay, the two
Right.
bacteria is fighting, and then I'm gonna be this. If this was me, I'm gonna be looking at you like you stupid, cause I know for sure I got blueberries, strawberries, and apples in my refrigerator that I eat on a good regular. Okay, and we was all happy and 112 in it. Okay, peaches and cream. We was all blackberry molasses. Okay, we was sweet. Hello. And next thing you know, we ain't sweet no more. We ain't even singing "He's Sweet." I know. No, there's nothing sweet about this. Okay.
Tangy.
And now we over here sourpuss. Okay, literally and
Sour Patch Kid.
figuratively. Over here sour. Okay, and upset. Okay, you wanna know why? Because you had our bacteria fighting each other. They don't mix. That's all I'm saying. That right there, and I'm saying that's a lesson for men. And if the men is watching, this is how happy y'all getting caught cheating because this bacteria don't mix. That's the truth of the matter. You're getting caught because bacteria don't mix because you just like to run up in everybody raw. Stop that. Stop. Another thing, okay, let me help y'all out. Real talk. Majority, if you ever, Nisha said, "In this live now." I'm helping the folks. Nisha, don't come for me, okay? I'm trying to help people, okay? Cause let me tell you, and I had to ask my OBGYN this. I was like, "What condoms are you supposed to use?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because when we as women go to the OBGYN, when we have to get a pap smear, they literally are putting a condom over the little thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I asked them, I was like, "What do y'all use?" She was like, "This is not latex." I said, "Well, you could have fooled me." She was like, "No. Majority of women have an allergy to latex down there that they don't necessarily know about, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, when you come to the OBGYN and we have to do the pap smear, what we're putting over this is latex free." I said, y'all probably could free a lot of women from getting this good BV if y'all would have told the women folk, stop using latex condoms. Half y'all need to go out there and get these men the little latex free condoms, and some of y'all will be free as well from smelling like sourpuss. Just saying.
I don't know if that's they say that when you use like lamb skin or some of
I
these
ain't
other
talking about
condoms
lambskin.
before.
I'm talking about latex free.
Latex
So there's
free.
a difference. I ain't talking about
Latex.
lambskin. This latex free. See, this is when you gotta stop going to the little corner store at the late night. Okay, you need to hit up that good Walmart and that good Target. Okay, on schedule and make sure that you got latex free condoms. Okay,
Or the
that'll
Adam
help.
and Eve, or the Adam and Eve store, or Condom Kingdom.
Wherever she talking about that. I don't know
They
nothing about
calling it Adam and Eve.
look.
That
I
would be
don't know
that
I don't
would
know
be
nothing about
classic.
look. I don't know nothing about that stuff. I'm saved. I don't know nothing about
What?
Adam and
What?
Eve and all that.
You don't know about Condom Kingdom? Now, as many
No
times,
condom kingdom. I'm
as
saved.
many times as you've been to South Street here in Philly, you've never been past Condom Kingdom. You can't miss it.
I can miss it because I am saved. The Holy Ghost don't allow me to go those ways.
Oh Lord.
He is a keeper if you want to be kept.
I mean, he is.
Okay.
He is.
I ain't never seen
There,
that over there. That
there is
wasn't
stuff that a safe folk can get out of those stores.
right. They need to stay saved, okay? In the condom kingdom, okay? And not here bacterial infections and stuff like that. Go on there and protect yourself. If you look, Paul said if you can't control yourself, you might as well get married. Some of y'all, I don't promote that. Some of y'all just need to go ahead and get condoms and protect yourself. So
You
go on
protect
there.
yourself.
Going where she's talking about. I ain't never seen that because when I would go on South Street, I never really walked South Street. So I would just go to a good little Jamaican spot right there. And my other little spot, they don't close down. And I went to South Street to eat. I was big back then. So that good 300-pound South of mine was going to South Street just to eat. Not that pizza though. I ain't eat that pizza on South Street like y'all. You know what I'm saying? But
Don't do that.
Ain't nobody eating sweet sauce. That's like, never mind, because I ain't trying to stunt with nobody. I'm from New York. Our pizza sauce ain't sweet. I ain't got that type of time.
It just depends on where you get the pizza. But somebody gonna say that Adam and Eve is too expensive. If you want good stuff,
invest in your sexuality. You better invest in your sex life. Get the best of the best.
I was just about to say that. If you want the best experience, you're going to pay the best money. Just like you want your hair to be on fleek and you're going to pay $400, $500, $600 for some bundles and another $200-$300 to get it installed. You're going to pay $50-$60 to get them nails and toes done. You're going to invest. You know I know about it here. You're going to invest in what's going to enhance that experience. I'm not buying nothing cheap. I can't tell y'all what I bought, but I ain't buying nothing.
I know I ain't buying nothing, but I ain't ready for that. That's after dark.
You know, now, Kia, now we done had conversation.
We have, and I wasn't ready for it then. And I'm not ready for it now.
We keep it real, and
we're not keeping it that. Where's Betty? Betty right there?
No, she went upstairs. Thank you, Jesus.
That's why you about to be reckless. See, this is what I be knowing. We're not doing this at this good hour. Okay.
Yeah. Come on, let's just. I mean,
no. Oh my God.
If we're gonna talk about relationships and all things relationships and sexuality, this is relationships and sexuality.
I was over here trying to end this. You over here want to end.
I'm messing with you. You know I like to have good fun.
Oh God, it's sweet. I wasn't ready.
You know I gotta get you every now and then. I haven't been feeling my best, so you know I'm feeling kind of good because I got you.
Now I gotta rub my good temple. Oh, my poor temples. Oh God. I was about to be like, oh my God, what in the world? Where are we going? Which direction? What in the world?
You talked about the latex-free condoms, and
all right, we over there. We're not talking about that part no more. Oh
I'm just saying.
Betty Fur might still be watching. Danger said her good eye is tired. Goodbye, Danger, and good night. I can't deal with the folks tonight. Nisha saying no sex going on over there. We bless them. And
they said I'm frugal, man. Frugal, you'll be going back to the store in another 2 weeks to get a new whatever you bought if you don't pay the money.
I don't know about that.
If you're gonna use if a woman is gonna use anything that's gonna deal with the inside of her body, she has to take care of the inside of her body better than she takes care of the outside of her body.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything, Kia. He said it, not me. I didn't say it. I didn't say what I bought. I didn't say what I got. I didn't do any of that. Listen, I'm honest, and you know that I'm honest to a default. It sometimes get me in trouble.
We're gonna
and I still love.
Don't get too honest.
And I still love Jesus, and He still love me.
Look, you know what?
Listen, man. People don't want to have that real talk about Jesus.
Listen, come on. Come on, come through.
They don't want to have that real talk.
What?
Yeah.
That scares people off. The key is, she like, okay, let's hear it. Bring me my aspirin.
You know what? I just so right.
What?
On the
Listen.
next After Dark, okay, we're gonna have a real talk about Jesus and all he has done for all of
I
us.
want
Yes, we're gonna talk
Because
about
because
Jesus and how he loves us.
clearly there needs to be another conversation that need to go on.
right.
Uh, I mean, and you know, and first of all, I personally don't necessarily care. Okay,
Somebody said y'all gonna have some people mad.
and that
Mm-mm.
is perfectly fine. Let me say this: because I'm grown. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I am not. I don't buy toys at all. There's not a toy in this house. I don't buy them. I'm not. I'm not buying none of that. And let me say why I don't buy none of that. Okay, years. I never forget this. Years ago. Okay, years ago. This is going back to when I was in the relationship with Alvin. This is how far back it's going. This is going back to like 2004, 2005, little 24, 23-year-old the kid. Okay, Betty
Mm-hmm.
age the kid. That's why we try to tell you what was going on at 23 back then is not what happens at 23 today.
Mm-hmm.
I had bought all these little toys because he was supposed to be coming home from jail, right? I had the good little handcuffs. I had the good little the little feather things or whatever the case may be. You had the whole what was this stuff called? The stuff the little numbing stuff, whatever that little stuff. Now I wasn't the ones I didn't buy all of their other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the little glass stuff and the little plasticky. No, I wasn't doing all that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't buying the little plugs and some of that other. I didn't buy none of that type stuff. But just
Okay.
the little fun stuff they put to be like candy and also the extra little crazy stuff. You know what I'm
The
saying?
edible underwear you bought.
Edibles.
Not the edible underwear, not that because I never really could understand that whole part of it. But you know what I'm saying? This little stuff was supposed to be like little candy. Oh, and then they had this other thing that like once you put it on, it like warmed up and
Warms
stuff.
up.
All
Mm-hmm.
that other extra stuff, you know what I'm saying? And you know, when you're trying to spice things up for an ungrateful person, it just turns your whole life off. You're like, you know what? I ain't never gonna buy this stuff ever again. Okay, like I don't have, and you know what? And I forgot how. I think somebody must have had like a little sex toy. Somebody was selling it on the job. You know, the job will get you every time, and you especially
Every time.
yeah, so somebody must have been selling this stuff. I was like, oh, you know what? This is cool. I'm gonna get this, and I'm gonna get that, and I'm gonna get that, blah 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 blah. And here come good old Mr. Ungrateful. Mr. Can't appreciate nothing. Mr. I just want to cheat and do all the things I want to do. I was like, I threw all that foolery in the good garbage and ain't never bought that stuff ever again in life. I said, you know what? Screw this. If I ever buy something, okay, it'll be for a husband. And Lord knows the two that I done mistakenly married couldn't get none of that neither. So therefore, I don't know. If
But
I ever
maybe
what?
maybe the handcuffs. You said he just got out of jail. He saw the handcuffs and he was like,
You
you know what? I'm
traumatized
done.
him.
Girl, he traumatized me.
You traumatized him.
I was
Listen,
traumatized.
listen. One thing
Surrender.
I'm gonna say about experimenting in that area of the bedroom, it can be very traumatizing. You have to know your partner's sexual past. It's imperative and it's important on a serious note because you could be introducing them to things that could be um, traumatizing to them, can bring back memories, things like that. And
You're right.
you have to slowly introduce people to things. Don't try and throw everything at them all at one time. You need to have a couple of conversations about things. This is good, important. Um, this is good information. You know, you don't want to just be like, oh, Come on, let's play with the hot wax. Wait, excuse me? Let's do what? You know, you got to be like, well, are you willing to explore? And what are you willing to explore? And what are your boundaries? Another thing we didn't talk about today, what are your boundaries? We
First
have
of all,
boundaries.
at the good age of 23 years old, you're not even thinking of a trigger nor a boundary, okay? This
I was
was
trying to
all
help.
fun. Now, at the age of 39, I might have to consider that. Have you been locked up before? Because this here, these little handcuffs, you might not want to play with them, okay? And I ain't even gonna hold you, because he was like, I'm not putting them handcuffs on. And I'm like, these are furry. Why would you put them on? Like, this is fur. Like,
I was
these
about
are
to ask you, did you have the
furry.
ones with the fur on them?
They were furry that all you had to do was just look, do a little tap and it was unlocked. Like there was no key to the little they was toy. It was a toy. Like it wasn't even for real. You know what? I was traumatized. He wasn't traumatized. I was traumatized. You wanna know I was traumatized? Because his ass was a cheater. Okay? Cheater. Okay?
Yeah.
Read it. Okay? I was traumatized by that whole threw me off. I was like, I threw all that foolery in the good garbage.
Yeah,
I
and
sure did. Threw it out there.
you don't want to explore those types of things after you find out that the person is a cheater. Let's just be real. Because you're opening yourself up to a whole new world. Listen, I tell a lot of people, don't come on this side if you ain't ready to play on this side. You got to be ready and you got to be mature to play. And when I say play, I don't mean playing games, but to come into this world. Oh, sorry. So this is your fault.
Most people aren't ready to really delve into sexual exploration. They're not ready for it. They're all about the instant gratification. And when you start going into different things and you start really trying to go deep into sexuality and sex and dealing with tantric sex and dealing with all types
now
of
you better come on here and talk about we you know what? We're gonna talk about no, all jokes aside, we're gonna talk about tantric sex and we're also gonna talk about Kama Sutra. I think it's very important because I think that if people begin to fully understand sex as a whole, not the physical act of sex,
right,
the mental, the emotional, you know what I'm saying? Like the spiritual, how you intertwine with a person, how the connection, what draws you in, like that right there.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that because that is a topic that I do have to talk about because I think it's important. You want to know, and you want to know why? Oh, my little apple. This is not my little apple. So this goes. You know what? I done met some people in life. I had met this guy. What was his issue? He might have been. What was his? He had an issue. It was some type of issue, right? I don't think. I think he had what do you call that? He had a like an ED type issue, right? But mind you, he was mad young. So something happened to him when he was younger, which caused ED. ED is erectile dysfunction, right? So he could not, no matter what, there was no pill that could help him. He could not get hard whatsoever. And I never forget, we had a whole good conversation, right? And we were just talking because we wasn't dating or anything. We literally were just talking. And one of the ways in which that he can only necessarily engage in sex is through tantric sex. Why? Because he cannot physically have sex. So that piqued my interest into understanding what is this, right? Because most people, all they want to talk about is the physical act of sex. They don't want to discuss the mental. They don't want to discuss the emotional. They don't want to discuss the spiritual. Everything is just physical. The act of physically entering upon a woman, you know what I'm saying? Or the act of a woman, you know what I'm saying? putting her mouth and, handling the good business. Okay. But they don't want to talk about the, and I was like, so I had read, because he had sent me all this type of stuff on, and I was like, oh, I never even knew this existed. You know what I'm saying? And this had to be like 2010, 2011, somewhere around that area. And I was like, he was like, so do you think you'd be interested in that? I was like, absolutely not. No, I don't even know what that is. Nope, you ain't gonna get me caught out here with some foolery. I don't even know what this is. Because at that time, I had just started going back to church, right? I had really just started going back to church. And I was like, that might be some type of Jezebelic stuff you trying to put on me. Because at that time, I was super holy. You know what I'm saying? I was in a good Baptist church too. You know what I'm saying? Everything was a demon in the spirit. You wasn't going to try and get me. No.
You wasn't going to get got.
Nah, you ain't get me. Totally this over here. I don't even know what you're talking about. But I did read everything though, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. That it reminded me of Demolition Man type stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that's that movie, Demolition Man with what you call whatever. And they had the virtual sex with the little thing on their head.
Don't get caught up in
Anyway.
I'm trying to say but not say.
Well,
but
I wasn't getting caught up because I was like, duh.
But that is an experience, and for LGBTQIA plus community, that is a very one of the key pieces that they use.
I know. I took human sexuality, okay, and she showed us a video. That's all I'm gonna say. And the folks was upset because they said that video was like soft porn. I was like,
yeah.
I learned a lot in it. Let me tell you something. I learned a lot in that one human sexuality class. What did she call it? Palming. I learned so much in there. I was just like,
yeah.
And it definitely was a soft porn because I was like, it doesn't fit. And she was like, I mean, this is college. You can watch this. I was like, oh. People, exactly. I don't think they asked her. I don't think they asked her to come back next semester though, because them people, they were upset about that. Like they was really upset. However, she taught us the importance for people that had toys, the importance of cleansing your toys.
Cleansing your toys.
Some of the folk don't like to cleanse stuff, okay? Hence bacteria infections that we already done talked about. Okay.
Changing your toys when you get a new partner.
Changing, meaning get rid of, meaning you
get
can't
rid
keep
of the
same
old
one.
I know you pay $70 for it, $120 for it, but you got to buy a brand new one.
See,
you can buy the exact one.
You know what? Let me say this then. And that means some of y'all men, okay, the same way how when we switch partners or whatever, and we might go to the OBGYN, you know what I'm saying, to make sure we all copacetic in our good areas. Some of y'all men need to go get that good Q-tip up there. Get that bacteria tested. Make sure you don't need a pill. I'm just saying.
Listen.
Look, a pill or a shot. Hello.
A pill or a shot, but listen.
Goodbye.
You gotta swap everything out. You gotta get everything brand new.
But they don't like getting that Q-tip up the little pee hole. They say it hurt. I heard a man told me that. A man told me that because he was real serious about all of his good hygiene and stuff like that. He was like, "Do you know how much that hurts?" I was like, "I mean, I don't know. I get pap smears and stuff. You know how uncomfortable that is."
That is.
Hello.
Say that again. That's very uncomfortable.
Hello. Do you not know how uncomfortable that is?
Going up that hole hurt. That's a very that's a hard situation.
Yeah.
But it's worth it if you want to be sitting up here having sex with people raw. You might as well get your little swab done.
Every 3 months if you're gonna do it that way.
Deal with your little pain.
Right. You're right about it.
It's called bacteria sharing, and we don't want to fight.
Yeah.
Just saying. Because let me tell you, I am an asker. I will straight up, listen here. If I know I'm peaches and cream, and after you, it's like peaches and the cream is missing, who's you having sex with? Who was you with? What do you mean? You know what I'm who? Well, okay. You might want to go get yourself a little swab test, sir. Carrying around a bacteria that don't mix. Hello. Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
Listen, I make people change their whole diet dealing with me.
Yeah. That's
I
the
mean,
responsibility of sex. Sex
water's important.
is a great responsibility.
Water,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Proper cleanliness, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
All that.
you need to know all of that. There's so much that we leave left untouched, left unsaid when it
Yeah.
comes down to sex and sexuality and how to properly care for yourself, but also how to properly communicate what you like and don't like.
Yep. But a lot of people, because, and I think it's because a lot of times we want to preach abstinence and abstaining and saving yourself, and we don't want to deal with the practicalness of, listen, some people are just not that disciplined. Y'all weren't even that disciplined until you got with the one that you were with, and then you decided that, well, you know what? We're going to stop having sex for now. And then when we get married, boom. So, sometimes we're not as realistic as we can possibly be as it pertains to sex. So we want to teach people abstinence. We want to tell them they need to abstain. We want to teach. I mean, we had a whole purity campaign going on for a little while until everybody figured
Mm-hmm.
out. Until the people figured out she was a thief, and then next thing you know, boom. So I just think that sometimes we're not very real with what
When
it
it
is.
comes and that's true. And we have to think the body, the way God created the body is once male and female start to hit puberty, it starts to go through the changes of I want to bear children or I want to be able to produce seed to bear children. So now your body hormonally, physiology, I can't say that word here.
Physiologically, go ahead.
Yeah, is now telling you that now you are ready or at an age where you should be reproducing. Well, what does that mean? Now my hormones is telling me things that maybe I have not had the information about. So your body is now going through things. So you're fighting against what your body naturally wants to do,
Mm-hmm.
and so you talking about discipline, man. Listen, that's a level of discipline. Jesus,
Well, do
you
you
gonna
call
need
it
to
discipline?
call
Is it discipline or is it abuse? Because at
it.
some
Could,
point, if we have not, because we lack the information at young ages, when we do come into that time of puberty and our bodies is ready, you know, there are lessons there that need to be learned through those years. But the church for so long has demonized it. The church has talked about how this is not how they've made women feel with their bodies, that you're wrong for feeling these feelings, while they've let men do all types of stuff. And then in turn, what you produce a pathology within the sexual attitude of your people. And now you produce, from all of the, I mean, even if we go back into time and we see how the nuns in the Catholic Church, they were
mhm.
raped by the priests. And then they were impregnated by the priests. And then they aborted the babies, buried the babies. They would find like thousands of babies' skeletons in Italy and Rome and different places, because they were trying to keep it secret that these people were having sex, because and not just sex, but a lot of the sex was unconsensual, because they weren't taught how to properly use sexuality and how to embrace sexuality, because they were trying to appease a god that they had made up in their own head.
In their
You
own
know,
head.
so here
Mhm.
we are. I'm like, if we acknowledge the God that's in nature, you are actually acknowledging the true God.
Right.
This is if our bodies are made this way, and this is how he made us. Him made us. She made us.
Mhm.
It made us. And when we
Mm-hmm.
embrace that, when we understand that, then we can get a better grasp on how we can enjoy sex together, and make it more pleasurable. Make it the experience it's supposed to be. Instead of demonizing it, teach us
Mhm.
how to be responsible with it. It's a powerful gift, and it's a powerful
Yes.
weapon, because how many years has sex been used as a weapon?
As a
It's been
weapon.
weaponized. So it's
Yes.
learn the wisdom that's locked in sex. Learn the wisdom that's locked in engaging with others on that level. There's a certain wisdom. There's a healing. There's a therapy in that. And we miss out all those. We miss out on all of those lessons because we're so busy trying to please a God that they made up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So true. So true. We are going to have to finish this conversation. Key, you got to do another after dark.
I know. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna have to really do another. You know what I'm saying? The muzzle is off after dark because there are certain discussions that I do believe that we have to have,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, there's some discussion. It's after dark, but not after dark because it's explicit or illicit. It's after dark because there are certain things that are truly for grown folks.
Yes.
Okay, they're grown, real grown.
Real
Okay,
wrong.
real grown for grown
Real.
people to get on and to talk about and to understand and to really gel about. So no, we definitely will be doing other. Well, I was just talking. I told you I was coming on here to straight up clown, but
We got some clowning in. We got some clowning in.
I mean, there's always going to be a certain level of clownation when I'm on, okay?
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, you have to bring the humor into the situations at hand, okay? Some folk done got angry at a certain part because they put the little angry face on there, but that's all right.
Oh, oh, did they?
I think an angry face was a little bit of an accident. I think it meant to be a laugh or a heart, and
Oh,
they had put angry, but that's all right either way because Facebook records it all.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? But nah, yeah, we definitely will do another the muzzles up after dark. What's today? Today, well, it's now Tuesday, so we will be back Wednesday, which will be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And we are yet and still furthering our good conversation concerning relationships. I think it's going to be good. Next month, for the month of August, uh, it's going to be a new topic. We're going to have some new people, and the overall topic is really going to be healing. But we're literally going to discuss church hurt, and how we healed from it. Because
Mm,
oftentimes we always talk about the hurt in the church, but we never see the success stories of ones that have healed post the hurt, right?
mhm.
And what each and every last one of our healings is going to look different to each other, right? Because I'm not going to heal the same way how you would heal. You're not going to heal the same way how I would heal. Another person is not going to heal like me, and I'm not going to heal like them. But I think that it is important to have that level of a conversation so that we can understand that people do heal, and they go through their process, they go through their hurt, they go through their pain, they go through their resentment, they go through all of that, and then
Mhm.
there comes another side of it of healing. So we're definitely going to unpack all of that for the month of August. And then
Mhm.
for the month of September, we are going to unpack miscarriages. And then we're going to really get into mental health. I just think, we're going to talk about things that people are just now starting to really talk about. And I think that it is important. I believe COVID exposed a lot in all of us that we were not fully aware
Ready
of.
for.
Yeah, and now we're forced to deal with the things in which we were not necessarily prepared to deal with. And I mean, at the end of the day, all of us have faced some type of a challenge during these last 4, 5, 6 months or whatever the case may be. So, it's just time for us to really speak openly, speak honestly about the things in which we are challenged with, and provide a healthy, balanced conversation surrounding it. I just think that's important. And we will do some more of these, the Muzzle is Off After Dark, because I also think that that's important as well, because there are certain things that we just might need to discuss on another level. And that's important for us. So with that being said, thank you, Gail and Jamel, for coming on at the good last minute, because who knows, I was like, y'all riding, let's go. Both of y'all were like, all right. I'm like, okay, let's do it then. And
Yes.
and tell Betty I said thank you for her coming on and providing her commentary, and even for her sharing of her own personal struggle within her own relationship. But Gail, make sure she get that journal, please, and make sure she do what that she was instructed to do as a guide for herself. But I think that'll really help her, and that, you know what I'm saying, she'll remember what Jamel said. You know, you gotta be patient with yourself, because we do live in a time frame and where everything is. We live in a world where everything is on a time. Well, you need to have children by this time. You need to get married by this time. You need to have this by this time. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that patience is key, because everything is not based on an invisible clock that none of us see. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Jamel, thank you for that level of information. I like that part. Patience, because even sometimes I get impatient even with myself. So I think that was important for all of us to really understand that we're not in a rat race. You know what I'm saying? Life is not a race. Life is a journey to be lived and to be walked and to be breathed. And sometimes when we're constantly racing against a clock that none of us can see, a biological clock, or whatever, all these different clocks that we tell ourselves about, we no longer are enjoying life. We're no longer breathing life. We're no longer living life. But we are literally it's like we're living within a time schedule of when we think certain things should happen, and that's just not what it is. So that was really good. A real good point of self-reflection. So thank y'all. It's 1:36 on the East Coast. I know some of y'all in these comments, y'all on the West Coast, or y'all on Central Time, so y'all a little far behind. But it is 1:37 now a.m. on this good East Coast, and we're gonna sign off for this. So thank y'all for joining. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow night, Wednesday, at 7 p.m. for the Muzzle is Off podcast. We're gonna continue our conversation about relationships, and then of course tune in all of next month and all the other following months, because there are some real great things that are coming. There are real great things that are happening, and I want this good Muzzle is Off family to be in tune and to be following. Until then, everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Enjoy, and we will see y'all tomorrow.
Definitely.